It was my great-great-grandfather, Robinson, that invented the very first mechanical air-moving equipment for coal mines in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. So here we are, 134 years later, 6 generations of a family-owned business. World War I came along and it had some struggles, and then World War II, which my father was in, he had to leave Zelienople, the main plant where he was working from the time he was probably 12. My grandmother, who was a force to deal with, she took over while the sons went to war. My dad went to Guam and was gone for 2 years, and Grandma Henderson kept that business going. When Dad got back, she had basically saved it from receivership. We were that close to being closed down. Grandma Henderson was in World War II too. She was just in Zelienople saving this family-owned business. She was my hero, Grandma Henderson. Dad came home to little Zelienople. He and my mom had gotten married before he shipped out. So Dad came back from the war, and there was this little cottage right on Main Street next to my grandfather and grandmother's house. So he'd work all day at the company. Then he'd come home, and he was redoing that cottage to be our permanent home. The guy worked 24/7, I swear.
Jim Henderson Jr., he had been here when his grandfather was running Robinson Industries. I think it was 1927.
My grandfather really didn't ever want to back down from a challenge. He was an engineer, and so he was willing to figure out a way for us to do almost anything. And I think then that ethos gets installed in everyone.
He liked knowing everything, and he was very good at knowing everything about Robinson, from climbing around in brick plants, talking to customers, to engineering and design, to testing, fabrication, and shipping. I think he'd be proud of what we're doing. Building that Robinson family, I think he'd be proud of that.
He had 3 daughters. We had to work at the company every summer once we were 16 years old. Told us every aspect of the company. My husband, he decided a year into our marriage that he thought he was being called to go back to Zelienople and be part of the family business. We really needed a sales department head, and we needed to expand what we sold. And aftermarket, repair and rebuild was what he came back to Zelienople to do.
In '95, my grandfather passed away. Carl and Nancy and the girls were looking at moving out to Salt Lake City, Utah to start the plant we have here. That's how I got to Utah, is that I moved here with the Stiebels. I've tried to mimic what I've learned. That's how I saw it modeled, I guess. I've seen it from my grandfather, from my dad, when I was working with Carl about making sales calls to customers. That's what I've seen modeled from our family. And so that's how I thought it was done, and that's how I have done it.
I feel very privileged to be a part of it. I serve on the board. I mean, what a privilege. I'm so proud of our daughters. They jumped in. They obviously have business minds. Trish has been very valuable as a lawyer, but more importantly, leading the company. And they love their dad. And he just keeps teaching them and training them and wishing them well. One of the things that separates us from the other van manufacturers is we've had a footprint across the country. And I credit my husband for that. The number one thing is the quality of our fans. I think we've left a pretty good footprint on this earth. And I hope that's what Robinson's most known for.